Can you see me? Can you hear me? I'm very sorry about this delay. Hi, Muskan. Is today also net issue? Oh no. Yes, but I'm here now and I've set everything up in the back, so we shouldn't have any problems today. Let me just drop a message saying that we are starting. Yeah. Give me a second. You should be able to see me, so let me know if you can't see me. Yeah, okay, you can see me, I think. Hello to Gian, and is that your name? I'm good, how are you? Hello, Ablasha. Good afternoon. Nice to meet you. Well, today is a quiz rather than a class, but I hope you like it. Hi, Priyanka. Well, to Ablasha, who is new here today, I'm Shree. I teach English for grades 11 and 12 here on this channel. Generally, we meet from, let me drag out that pen and tell you, we meet from 3 to 4 every day, and on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays and Fridays we do grade 12 portions, and on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays we do grade 11. Today we're going to be doing some revision. We finished almost all of our literature portions. We just finished the second last lesson in the Snapshots book, which was the address, and we're going to be doing revision for it today. Oh, okay. Then to Priyanka also, hello, I'm Shree. It's nice to meet you too. Today we're going to be doing a quiz, as I said, and our quiz code is 40845720. You can go to menti.com and type in this quiz code in order to join the quiz. It is not a very difficult quiz because we're just revising one chapter, but it'll be quite thorough in the sense that it'll take us over all the different segments of the chapter. I'm trying to type the quiz code out to you in the chat box, and you can go ahead and copy paste that. And I'm also in the meantime going to go ahead and share this link again on the Telegram group because I forgot to do that. Okay. While you're hopefully joining, Abhilasha, that sounds really terrible. I hope you're doing okay now. The best of wishes for you. Hello, Muskan. Yes, I see that you were here first. We're gonna start, but we're also gonna wait maybe for like other people to join us. That's really good to hear, Ablasha. Take care, yeah. Good afternoon to Vaiba. Hello to everyone again. We are doing a quiz today, and the quiz code is over there, 40845720. Let me know if you've joined. Let me know if you're having trouble joining. We'll start in a bit. While you're doing that, I want to let you know that the Unacademy app is something that exists on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, and you can try it for free. It has an Ask It Out feature, which I think might be helpful for you. You can go ahead, click on Ask It Out, and sort of just take a picture of whatever question you have, choose the subject that the question falls under, and you'll get a reply on it very soon. so it can be useful especially for exam revisions. Keep that in mind about the Unacademy app. This is the quiz code, once again, 40845720, and I hope you're all here. And I'm going to swap to the quiz now, and if everyone is okay with it, we can start. Just leave me a quick message in the chat about whether we can start or not. Oh, oops. I should add a leaderboard after the last question. I keep forgetting about this. Okay, yeah, it's there now, and we can go ahead and start. Okay, I see you're all talking in the chat, which is nice. Okay, so we're gonna start. We're starting with an extract question. I'm gonna read the extract out to you, and then we're gonna have a couple of questions based on that. Do you still know me? I asked. The woman looked at me searchingly. She had opened the door a chink. I came closer and stood on the step. No, I don't know you. I'm Mrs. S's daughter. She held her hand on the door as though she wanted to prevent it opening any further. Her face gave absolutely no sign of recognition. She kept staring at me in silence. This is the extract, and the first question is the most predictable question. Oh, I like that paperclip. Name the author. Who is the author of the address? Okay, most of you are right on this. Marga Minko is the author of the address. Minko is actually like a consequence of a misspelling. She wanted it to be Minko. And this isn't actually her name at all. It's a pseudonym. She came up with it because, well, she didn't really want anybody to know who was writing the stories. Her actual name is something quite different. It is Sarah, but has like no connection to Marga at all. Hello to Student Helper. That's an interesting YouTube name. And your profile is the Unacademy like logo. Yeah, the story is set in Holland. Also, let me know if you all can hear me, because I've been having some like audio issues. So yeah, if you can't hear me at any point, just let me know. I'll like pull the mic up closer or something like that, Muskan, I hope you're with us now. When is this story set, rather than where is this story set now? At what point of time? Okay, multiple answers. The right answer is that this story is set after World War II and after the liberation of Holland. I have a question about what the liberation of Holland is. So after you answer that, I will tell you like exactly how we know that it's set in this point of time. Oh no. Okay. That's whoever is called Student Helper. Could you tell me your name so I don't have to call you Student Helper? Um, yeah, come join the Menti. I'm glad you've joined it. Yeah, I don't understand Hindi. Muskan is right. Kind of understand it if you're typing it in English, because I've heard like Hindi spoken a lot. Okay, so let me tell you about like when the address is set. All right, it is set after World War II. It is set after like Holland has been liberated. And what does the liberation refer to? Near like the end of World War II, what happens is Holland gets occupied by Germany, and so Germany is currently like ruling over Holland. And then when World War II ends, Germany like retreats, right? And Holland is returned to the hands of the people of the country. And so the liberation refers to the freedom of Holland from Germany, which comes with the end of the World War, the Second World War. And we need to know this because it's important context for the story, which is also like thinking about somebody who comes back home to Holland after she's run away from Holland for a bit, because at one point of time when Holland was being occupied by Germany and Germany was persecuting the Jews, Second World War, the narrator and her mother, who are both Jews, had run away from Holland. That probably gives away an answer to another question, but that's okay. You should like know that context though, and you should keep that in mind. Biru villain. Okay. Muskan, what is the third that you think is right? Wait, let me go. No, Muskan, the third can't be right, because the liberation refers specifically to like the act of liberating Holland from Germany, right? It doesn't refer to like any of the side consequences that might have happened because of the liberation. You can look it up and like read about it, the liberation of Holland. Who is the woman from the extract that we read so long ago that maybe you've forgotten what was in the extract at all? It is Mrs. Darling. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't fall for my really like pathetic trick of Mrs. Darling. Mrs. Darling is the woman that Mrs. S's daughter comes to meet. So Mrs. S is the narrator's mother. Why does the woman, not the women, sorry about that, why does Mrs. Darling not open the door completely? Two people chose she doesn't recognize the narrator. However, she definitely recognizes the narrator, right? She is in fact worried because of the fact that she recognizes the narrator, and she is frustrated that the narrator has come back. And so she is very much like annoyed that the narrator is there. She is also very much hoping that the narrator sort of just doesn't recognize her. And so she's trying to like keep the door almost closed so that the narrator can't like see her very much and can't like come inside. So it's very much because of personal reasons, because of the past that they both share. Alright, Ablasha, yeah, I can wait a moment. We show the board at the very end. Ablasha, shall I go to the next question? I think, yeah. We have like only 25 questions today, so it's okay if we take some time. Muskan, I think his name is Birbal, or at least he said so earlier. If you are a he. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start this. What confirms for the narrator that she's at the right address? So when she is first there and woman doesn't entirely recognize her, or pretends that she doesn't recognize her, the narrator sort of am I at the right place? I don't know if I'm at the right place. And then at one point she's like, I'm definitely at the right place. And something that the woman does sort of verifies that for her. Okay, yeah, it's that she recognizes the sweater the woman is wearing. The sweater is this green knitted cardigan, and she has seen her own mother wear that sweater a lot. So she knows that that sweater is her mother's, and she's sort of I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, and this is the right address. There's another extract question. Have you come back? Said the woman. I thought that no one had come back. So this is the extract, and the question is, why do I show it at the end? I show it at the end because I want us to focus on the questions while we're doing them, and then when we're done with all of it, we can look at who did how well, you know. And the question is, why had they left? And I sort of told you the answer to this already. But that's okay. You can go ahead and choose the right answer. They here being the narrator and her mother. Sorry about all of these sounds. There are aeroplanes flying above my house, so it's making a lot of noise today. Yeah, they'd escaped in the middle of World War II. That's the right answer. They have not gone on vacation, though I am sure they wish that it was a vacation that they had gone on. They'd run away from Holland because they'd had to. Again, because they were Jews. My birthday is many, many months from now, Muskan. Why does the woman pretend she doesn't recognize the narrator? Last time you all chose personal issues. So this question is really just asking you, what are the personal issues that cause the woman to pretend that she doesn't recognize the narrator? Okay, 4 people are right. She wants to keep all the things she took from the narrator and Mrs. S to herself. She doesn't want all of those things to be taken back. Because she's very much taken it and reshaped her house with it, right? Now she uses all of those things every day. As for the person who chose she doesn't want to get in trouble for knowing Jews, you are very understanding. That's a very gentle way to interpret this situation. And you interpret it sort of the way that, the narrator's mother originally interpreted it. As though the action that Mrs. Darling is doing is a very good one. As if that's necessary, my mother cried. It would simply be an insult to talk like that. And think about the risk she's running each time she goes out of our door with a full suitcase or bag. My mother seemed to notice that I was not entirely convinced. She looked at me reprovingly, and after that, we spoke no more about it. The risk that Mrs. Darling is running by taking all of these people's things away and to her own house is that people will find out that she's associating with Jews and she's helping them out, right? And it was a very big risk at that point of time because World War II was going on. It's not a risk anymore with regard to the previous question that I asked because World War II is over and now there is no longer any risk in knowing any Jews. So yeah, this is the extract and the question is, we're almost part way through. What does this tell us about the mother? Also, if someone knows the meaning of reprovingly, let me know in the chat. It's not a very difficult word, I know, but it's not a very common word either, so I'm interested. Okay, 2 answers here. It does tell us that she's trusting. She definitely just believes in Mrs. Darling, so she has a tendency to just believe people who tell her things. And it also definitely tells us that she's a little bit naive because Naivety means basically like not being suspicious even in situations where there is reason to be suspicious. And in this particular case, it's naive of the mother because Mrs. Darling has cropped up out of nowhere after years and years and years, and she's just offering to help them. And even when the mother's like, oh no, that's okay, she's still like, no, I'll help you, I'll definitely help you, I definitely think I should do this for you. So that kind of insistence, you know, everything about this is like slightly suspicious, and yet the mother doesn't doubt or question. So that suggests that the mother is too extremely trusting. So naivety is like definitely something that we see here. As for her being honest, she's not, well, she might be honest, but we don't really know anything about that, right? Naive means that someone is being very excessively trusting. It shows that they haven't really like experienced the world, you know. They're making decisions that show that they aren't very familiar with the ways in which the world can be cruel sometimes, or the world can be harsh sometimes. So that's what it means. Does Bagal K mean like stupid? I think that's what it means. I don't know how to like precisely translate that. But if it means stupid, well, naive isn't exactly stupid. Some people do think like they're the same thing, but naive is a much more gentle word, right? It's not, you're not foolish, you just believe good things about the world too much. Okay, a set of like responses. Okay, I'm gonna take us back to this like quote so we can look at it. Okay, so what's going on here is the mother's like, oh, it's an insult to even think that Mrs. Darling will take our things away. And the narrator is not entirely convinced. She's sort of suspicious of Mrs. Darling, and she's sort of like, well, you know, I'm not really sure about this. And the reason that she's not sure about this is that she thinks there is a risk that Mrs. Darling will run away with their things forever, you know, and she thinks it is necessary for them to like have some sort of agreement that says, okay, hey, when we come back, you'll give all of these things back to us. So the right answer here is that she's worried. She is suspicious of Mrs. Darling. She has no like personal feelings about Mrs. Darling. She's not like, oh, this person is someone I dislike. She's just like, anybody who sort of offers to just take our things is like a little suspicious, and we should be a little bit careful with what we do. So it's just general worriness. It's not a specific dislike. Extract question again. I was walking in familiar places again for the first time since the war, but I did not want to go further than was necessary. I didn't want to upset myself with the sight of streets and houses full of memories from a precious time. And what is this precious time that the narrator speaks about? That is our question. Okay, two things, right? Both when she was younger and times before the war. It's not really when she was a better person. She's still like a completely like decent person. And as we've already like found out, Holland like economy isn't really something that comes into question in this story at all. So no like answers about economy are like likely to be correct in this story, because the story doesn't think about economy at all. But it is partly times before the war, because as we found out, the narrator like has been in Holland last when like the war was going on, right? And then they had to leave suddenly, and so the narrator's lived through some really bad times in Holland, and she still remembers the times before then, which was still good, and those are the times before the war when she was younger. So yeah, those are the answers. Hi Vidya, I wish I could switch off the fan, but it's really, really hot here. It's like 35 degrees Celsius, and if I switch off the fan, I'll sort of like boil up. So, I hope you can like hear me a lot better. Does that help? Let me know if this helps, yeah? Why would remembering better times upset her? Okay, two reasons. One is that the past is long gone. She doesn't exactly hate living in the past, right? She calls them precious times, which is to say that she'd very much like to live in those times. But unfortunately, she can't. And that's what upsets her, that she can't live in those times. She can't live in the past. And so she regrets the fact that the past is long gone. And she's sort of miserable about being back in Holland because when she was last year, she was there with her mother. And now her mother is no longer around. Her mother is very much dead. So being back in Holland also very much reminds her of her mother. And as for her not liking Holland, she still seems to like Holland. She just has a much more complicated relationship with it. You know what I mean? She's sort of like, oh, I love this place, but like the last time I was here, I was so much happier. And now it's just, things are just not good. Where does Mrs. D live? Oh, a mentee on the complete Hornbill book. So plans for Tuesday and Thursday, because that's when we do grade 11, is Ranga's marriage, I think. But after that we'll do like a mentee on that, I think. Yeah, Mrs. D lives on Marconi Street. She lives in number 46 Marconi Street. It is not Macria Street. I'm not sure why you thought it was Macria Street, whoever it was who thought that. Oh, changing my fan. Well, I don't know about that, Vidya, but I'll see what can be like sorted out, yeah? Why does the narrator's mother ask her to remember the address? Yeah, they plan to return and get their things back, right? It's not that her mother is forgetful. She just tells her daughter to remember the address because she's like, remember that address, someday we will go back to it and we will get all of these things back. This is not forever. And that makes this especially sad because the mother is not there with her to come and get their things back. Instead, the narrators had to go there alone, right? So I'm sure that also is kind of making the narrator incredibly sad about all of this. Why did the narrator initially not go to number 46 Marconi Street? So after the war ends, the narrator doesn't immediately go back, and my question is, why did she not immediately go back? Yeah, three of you chose the right answer. One is very much that she's afraid that it will remind her of her past, and another is that immediately after the war ends, she doesn't really think about her things. Her things are not her first priority, right? She's just sort of like, okay, it's over. What do I do now? And so, like, in the beginning, it's not her first priority, and after that she is afraid that it will remind her of a past that doesn't exist anymore. Extract question again, and this is the answer to the previous one also. Afraid of being confronted with things that had belonged to a Sorry, I'm gonna wait for the plane to go away. Yeah, I think it's gone now. Afraid of being confronted with things that had belonged to a connection that no longer existed, which were hidden away in cupboards and boxes, and waiting in vain until they were put back in their place again, which had endured all those years because they were things. And these are all the fears that stop her from going back to Marconi Street, and we're trying to understand what these fears are in specific. First, what is the connection that no longer exists as per this paragraph? Everything okay, Priyanka? Yeah. Her relationship with her mother, who is now dead. Good job, everyone. We're on question 18. We're nearing like the end really fast today. Why is she bitter that these things have endured? Why is the narrator bitter about, it's the very last segment. She's like, because they are things they have endured. And she seems incredibly like frustrated about that. And why is she bitter about it? Okay, technically all of these are the right answer, but like the most correct answer is all of the above. Partly it's because like only objects have survived this war. People that she loves, like her mother, haven't survived this war, and so many people have died, right? The emphasis on things is to tell us these have only survived because they're objects, and that's so frustrating because of all the things to survive this war. It had to be objects, and it couldn't be people. People couldn't survive this war because they're people, and it's only objects which are not as important as people that managed to survive this war. And so the answer here is all of the above. She is very frustrated about the nature of human beings versus the nature of objects here in some sense. Won't you sit down? Asked the girl. She opened the door of the living room, and I went inside past her. I stopped, horrified. Question 19. It's okay if you got it wrong, Muskan. Yeah, it's because all her things are there, but organized very differently. Everything does smell musty in that room, and the room is ugly according to the narrator. But part of the reason that like all of these things like horrify her, I mean the main reason that she is extremely horrified when she enters the room is the fact that she sees everything that she knows from her past in that room, and it's set up in a completely different way. And that might actually have something to do with why the narrator finds the room ugly. She's used to looking at these things like look a specific way, and now that they don't look that way anymore, it seems like some sort of insult to her eyes. You know what I mean? It's just like change is insult to your eyes. But yeah, it's a very upsetting situation, right? You walk into a place and you find out that like somebody else is living with all of the things that used to be a part of your life, and they're very much living with it. Like they're using all of the things that you used to use every day in their everyday. Okay, what does the narrator remember about the teapot? It's though like one thing that she gives us like a little bit of extra detail about. Yeah, three of you are right, and I'm very impressed that you remember that detail, by the way. It is such a small detail in that text. How do you remember it? Like, did you read this story recently? Um, yeah, it's plain except for a strip of gold on the lid, and I am incredibly, incredibly impressed still that you remember this very small detail. Wow. Why does the narrator find that her voice sounds strange in the room? Oh wow, a full variety of answers. Okay, it's not because she's very much not angry at the girl at all, right? I think she understands that it's not the girl's fault in any sense of the word, and that very much the girl has grown up thinking these things are hers. It's not because it's a new place and she's awkward. She's very much not awkward. She's very much just like she's also it's not that she's trying to make sense of things, because she has made sense of things. She understands what's going on. She sees that Mrs. Darling has just taken all of their things and made them part of her life, um, and seeing that has made her incredibly sad, and it's made her incredibly sad also because in some sense it's a reiteration for her that these things don't really belong to her anymore. And even if she gets those things back, all of the meaning that they used to have is maybe gone now. It's maybe changed now. Maybe those things just aren't as valuable because all of those things that she did with her mother while they lived together in their house with their things around them aren't going to come back just because she has those things back. So all of those realizations are kind of hitting her because she sees all of these old things. I bet you don't know it either. I looked intently at her. Okay, let me click on. I hope you can see this question. What is the it here? I want to ask if I do a full Menti on Hornbill tomorrow or sometime in the evening on Monday or something, would you all be able to make it? Let me know in the chat. The it here is cutlery. So when she's saying, I bet you don't know it is either, she's speaking about the cutlery and she's telling her something specific about the cutlery, and that is, what does she think the girl doesn't know about the cutlery? Okay, yes to Sunday. Alright. Yeah, both of those are right, and I'll tell you why, right? In this conversation that the narrator and the girl are having, the narrator is sort of saying, oh, back when I was young, I used to polish the cutlery. My mother asked me one day to just polish the silver, and I was like, what silver? And she was like, the cutlery. And until then, I just didn't know that my cutlery was made of silver. And then she looks at the girl and she's like, I bet you don't know it is either. And she's saying in the first place, I bet you don't know that your cutlery is made of silver. But she's also saying at the same time, I bet you don't know that the cutlery that we use is the very same, and just like I didn't know it was silver, you also don't know it was silver. We're in the same place now. It's a place that both of us have been in, so to speak. So it's both of those things that the girl doesn't know, and both of those things are communicated in that sentence. It's a very full sentence. It's full of meaning, not why, oh no, Oh no, has it frozen? Let me know if you can see this or if it has frozen terribly for you also. I hope screen to try and stream it, but that is very much the wrong answer. Sorry about that. Can you see me? Okay, yeah, I'm back. The narrator leaves without taking her things back because primarily because she is tired of holding on to the past. You're also right in saying that the things don't really hold value for her anymore, so that's also the correct answer actually. So you know what, I will consider that, and I will alter the original answer on that front. But there's one last question left and we can finish it off. I will change that answer later maybe. Yeah, all of these are really themes that the story does hint at. One is moving forward from the past, one is the pain of loss, one is a sense of acceptance at how things have changed, and another is that people do betray one another at different points in time. I'm really worried of this quiz just closing again, so I'm pushing us to end this soon. Oh, Anu was here today, and so was Tanu. Vaibhav has gotten to the top of the scoreboard. Congratulations to Vaibhav, and congratulations to a lot of you for taking this quiz and revising with me today. Thank you so much for being here. I had some fun and I hope you did too. If you liked today's quiz, then do leave a like. We'll be holding more quizzes soon because we're, again, as I said, near the end of our lessons, so it's more time for revision than anything else. Somebody asked me, Muskan asked me if I'll do a quiz on the entirety of the Hornbill portions, and I'm thinking that's a good idea. Keep an eye out on the Telegram group. You can join it using the link in the description box if you haven't joined it already. And I will send a link out there when we're holding that quiz for the entirety of the Hornbill book. I think that's it for today. So I will see you again soon. Yeah, Vaibhav is first, Muskan is second, and Priyanka is third. And you're all actually pretty close to each other in terms of the final kind of points. Before you go, I just want to tell you a couple of things about Unacademy in case you haven't heard it already. One is that Unacademy has this thing called Unacademy Plus, which has a lot of additional subscriptions. It's like YouTube but better in the sense that there are a lot more courses, there's a lot more revision, there are a lot more tests, a lot more doubt clearing sessions, answer writing sessions. You'll get study material also, so it's an expanded feature added version of YouTube. And these are the costs of Unacademy Plus, and you can take it for any duration of time that you want, but the longer that you take it for, the less that you ultimately end up sort of paying. There's also something called Unacademy Iconic, in which you get very individual attention. It's like a classroom. You get to work with educators on every subject that you have, but you can focus on what you struggle with, and you can have lesson plans sort of catered to your strengths and your weaknesses. So it's a lot more personalized. Your parents will also get come to office hours, so it's really school, except only for you and with Unacademy. And these are the costs of Unacademy Iconic. The per month costs varies again, but if you take it for longer, then you pay lesser per month. You can also use my referral code for both of these. It is THAR01 and it will give you a flat 10% discount. And finally, leave a like if you like today's session. Do share it around if you think maybe people